Why?
Because you were late.
I'm not late.
Oh.
Here exactly when Matt Barrows got here, who joins us right now from The Athletic. Good morning, Matt.
Morning, guys. How are you?
How do you think?
Fantastic.
Yeah. With about a year and a half off the lifespan, pal, but whatever. I'd go back to, I don't know if it was last week or the week before. I think it was last week when we talked, and you said you're able to separate yourself from the emotion, that your emotions are more about, having a story ready to go, hitting deadlines, etc. What did you have written at half yesterday, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, the idea I had in my mind at halftime was that the 49ers regular season goal, which was to get the number one seed and be really well rested and healthy for the playoffs, sort of subverted, damaged their postseason goal. That I felt like that time off had kind of created this rickety, out of sync team that we saw on the first two playoff games. And I still think that's true, but against Green Bay and then obviously against the Lions, they were able to get things going in the second half. And sort of the same question that we had going from Packers to Lions, we're going to have going from Lions to Chiefs, is whether this team can be its best from start to finish instead of just being able to sort of, get a slap across the face, a wake-up call, and then get jarred into the rhythm that they need to win the game.
We're talking with Matt Barrows here. Of course, he's brought to you by Stockton Honda, Northern California's #1 Honda dealer. In that first half, Matt, defensively, this is something that, we hadn't seen done by the Niners under Kyle Shanahan. That expensive D-line, I thought got pushed around. I didn't think they tackled as well. The speed and the game calling of the line. The Niners just looked like they could not even handle Detroit. What did you see there? Conversely, what flipped and showed so much improvement in the second half?
Yeah, it was a lot like the Green Bay game. Especially the outside runs, the runs to the edges. The 49ers were having a lot of trouble with. Remember that Aaron Jones 53-yarder? That's one where the wide receiver lines up in the slot and then comes down and cracks on the defensive end, Chase Young. The Lions ran that play several times, and the 49ers still had no answers for it. The defensive end, whether it was Young, whether it was Randy Gregory, whether it was Nick Bosa, seemed to always crash down on the inside on those outside plays, which left no one there to guard the edge. And that's something that I don't know if they're coached to do that. I don't know what's going on. That'll be a question I try to ask Kyle Shanahan today, and certainly we'll ask Steve Wilkes if we get to talk to him this week. But it just seems like a very obvious issue that the 49ers have been dealing with, and one certainly that the Lions saw in the Packers game and that the Chiefs are going to see in the last two, and something that they need to fix. So that was a problem. And then just getting, blown off the line of scrimmage on the interior was another issue. The Lions have a great offensive line. Not every team can do that to the 49ers. I don't know if the Chiefs can, but it's something that they obviously started to fix. And it wasn't right away. I think a storyline from this game is that, they got really ticked off at halftime and they came out, guns a-blazing in the third quarter. Well, not really. The third quarter opened up and the 49ers were able to muster a field goal on offense, and they were still getting blown off the line of scrimmage on defense, and it was that fourth down call, which you're going to be talking about in Detroit for a long time, that really sort of changed things. But the Lions were driving on that drive. They had at least a field goal there, and it wasn't until the next drive, we're talking midway through the third quarter, that things really changed for the defense. That was the Tashawn Gibson forced fumble, and from that point on, they were rolling.
Matt Barrows, beat writer for The Athletic for the Super Bowl-bound San Francisco 49ers. Hypothetical, Matt, but on that point, if you're the Detroit beat writer and you're doing an end-of-season post-mortem think piece, Are you leaning towards Dan Campbell's got to adjust in the playoffs? You have to take those points. He cost him the game. Or are you leaning towards that's you dance with the one that brought you and that's what got them there and you stick with what got you there? Which way do you think you'd lean?
Yeah, I'd probably lean towards the, I don't know. I mean, those were, the second one, after the first one failed, the second one really just seemed like pure stubbornness and, what really turned the game. There were also a lot of drop passes by the Detroit Lions in the second half. I'm still counting them. I'm midway through the third quarter in my review, but there have been 3 already, and I know there's another big one coming. They make those, and I don't know if the Lions win, but it's certainly closer at the end. It's probably a scenario where the 49ers have to have a touchdown at the very, very end of the game in order to win it. So the Lions had some letdowns. Fourth downs were one of them. Not being able to hold on to the ball was a big one too.
As we're talking with Matt Barrows, Matt, as we look at the Niners' comeback, then offensively had to do some things too. They got the short field once, like you said, on the fumble that they were able to do some damage with. But whether it's the Ayuk amazing catch, the steady run game of Christian McCaffrey, but I thought Brock Purdy's scrambles, his third down runs, his legs proved to be such a huge weapon. I don't know if the Niners will utilize that more, but what did you think about him as a runner in the value of this win?
Yeah, his improv skills and his toughness, I think, were the difference in this game. I mean, the running plays were huge. There was that one play to Juwan Jennings, a very short pass, but back into the middle of the field. Jennings had to kind of go up with one arm and catch it. It was, what you see from Patrick Mahomes. It was what you see from Josh Allen sometimes. It was improvisational skills at the right moment. Was it risky? Yeah, it sure was. But I mean, those are the differences. That's the difference between a win and a loss. Those are the plays that Brock Purdy can deliver. And I thought Jared Goff had a great game, but you get Goff on the run, and he's not as good. You get Purdy on the run, and he can make things happen. He's fluid. He's creative. I thought, a big difference. You compare and contrast NFC Championship games. Of course, he gets hurt in Philadelphia early on is a non-factor in that game. And this one, he took hit after hit. There was a Jim Burt-like hit early in that game where he just takes a shot from a Lions defensive tackle, goes flying backwards 10 yards, but he completes that pass. I thought there were 2 plays where the Lions hit him late. One where he just sort of gets raked helmet to helmet across the face, and his helmet actually pops off. It was a game in which the referees swallowed their whistles, which I usually enjoy. But that one seemed blatant, just really hitting a quarterback in the face mask when he's down. There was another one at the end of a run later in the game. But Purdy popped up after both of those, and I thought that was he was the difference in the game in the second half.
Any Niner fan over 30 hears Jim Burt, and immediately the shivers go up. That's a great reference, or a terrible one. Matt Barrows joining us. Matt, let's go back to the jump shot pass that you mentioned. There was a game earlier this year. I'm struggling to remember, but Purdy threw across his body, completed it, and then after the game, there was some conversation. Kyle Shanahan basically saying, don't ever flip and do that again. Brock apologizing on a play that worked. And it seems, maybe I'm wrong, but there's been a couple of times now since where Brock has made some sort of, as you said, dangerous yet creative pass, and it's worked out. We haven't heard that. Do you think either A, it's behind the scenes, B, Kyle just didn't notice, or C, is this a maybe a head nod towards, well, Brock's kind of earned the trust, and a lot of these no, yes plays are starting to become maybe not okay with Kyle, but more acceptable than earlier?
Yeah, I mean, I think the one you might be referring to, there were a couple in the Bengals game when they were trying to do the comeback at the end there. There was one in the Minnesota game. They didn't complete to Brandon Ayuk, but was another scramble, sort of pirouette and throw to the middle of the field. So he definitely has that instinct. I mean, I feel like a coach is always going to say that. Remember, our take on the Shanahan-Purdy relationship is that Shanahan has finally found a quarterback who basically operates like Kyle Shanahan on the field. Usually goes to all the right reads, is aggressive down the field. So in the rare instances where the quarterback sort of bucks that notion, I imagine the head coach, the play caller, starts to freak out. But I mean, I think my view is that kind of you need that ad-libbing sometimes. That's the difference between a win and a loss. And just look at the Chiefs over the years. It's just Houdini-like plays, pulling that rabbit out of the hat, and that's what Purdy is able to do sometimes. Will that come back to bite him at some point? Probably, but it didn't. I mean, that's the bottom line. He was able to complete a big pass on third down.
Matt, last week we talked about how, beating Green Bay in a way that they just don't do. Like, the Niners really have a blueprint. Get ahead, run the ball, play solid defense, add on special teams, and you just don't catch them. Well, they had to do it differently against Green Bay, and then it was even more dramatic yesterday. I don't look at this as a team that's lacking confidence, but what kind of confidence gained by winning 2 games in a row now in a non-typical Niner way?
Yeah, that's sort of what I tried to write about last night. I'm not sure I pulled it off, but I'm trying to contrast their 2019 run to the Super Bowl with this year's, and 19 was a breeze comparatively. Remember, they just blew out the Packers in the NFC Championship game. Raheem Mostert had 220 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. It was easy, and they weren't overconfident going into Kansas City, but that same year the Chiefs have had to win a lot of come from behind games in order to make the Super Bowl. They were used to it, and so when the game got tight and when the Chiefs overtook them in the fourth quarter, the 49ers didn't really know what to do. They didn't react well to it. I'm just wondering if the game on February 11 is tight, is back and forth. If the Chiefs take the lead late, I feel like the 49ers, at least mentally, are better equipped to handle it, given how rough, how challenging, given how much struggle they've had to deal with these last 2 games. It hasn't been perfect, and it's their own fault a lot of the time. But they're mentally strong enough to have overcome it, and their opponents weren't. I mean, like I said, there were drop passes. There were issues with Green Bay as well. Green Bay had a lot of missed tackles. The Lions had a lot of missed tackles. I don't know if you're going to get that from the Kansas City Chiefs, but the 49ers seem to have figured out how to fight and how to kind of get through these as they describe them, these grimy games.
Well, kind of building on that, just to give Niner fans like me a little something to hold on to. What is it, in your opinion, the Lions do or did that the Chiefs don't do well, or vice versa, that the Chiefs don't have? Well, I guess it's the same thing. The Chiefs don't have that the Lions did. I'm looking for things that Lions do better and did better than the Chiefs going forward towards the Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, the Lions run the ball really well, and that was just a sort of a dominant performance by that offensive line early on in that game in the first 2.5 quarters. That reminded me of what the Eagles did last year. I'm not sure that the Chiefs' offensive line is quite that dominating. And I know that they've been running the ball well lately. The Lions also stopped the run well. And that's something that I think the 49ers are going to key in on. They've got the best running back in the league, and he's proven it the last 2 games. I think it's as simple as that. They're going to have to dominate on the ground in order to beat the Chiefs.
Does it surprise you, not that it matters much, Matt, on the point spread, but that the Niners at least were installed as 2-point favorites?
Yeah, I hadn't looked at that yet, but yeah, that does surprise me. Just given how the first half of the last two games have gone. But again, going back to the Chiefs in 2019, I have to go back and study that. But my recollection is that they were, they were not a good team early on in those games in the playoffs, and yet they found a way to win, and that was their formula for winning. So maybe that becomes the 49ers calling card as well.
Well, I don't know if you've seen this yet or not, Matt, but this is something you can steal if you want for your article.
Sorry, I'm writing this down. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You good?
Yeah, got it.
Every time the Niners have won the NFC Championship game versus a team that has a shade of blue in their logo, they've gone on to win the Super Bowl. And anytime they've beaten a non-blue team in the NFC Championship game, they've gone on to lose. So we'll walk through it. Yeah, the Cowboys in 82, blue. Bears in 85 and 89, navy blue. 90, Rams, blue. 95, Cowboys, blue. They won all those Super Bowls. Falcons in 2013, no blue, no Super Bowl. Packers in 2020, no blue, no Super Bowl. Lions, that's all blue, baby.
Wow, that's deep. I would call the Bears midnight blue instead of navy blue. other than that,
but it's blue.
Spot on. Yeah.
You know what's funny? I actually looked that up. I'm glad Matt pointed that out because when I saw this, I was like, "Are the Bears blue?"
Yeah, I don't feel like there's any blue there.
No, I actually looked it up. I looked up Chicago Bears colors, and it flat out says their official colors are, quote, navy blue, white, and burnt orange, and their mascot is Staley the Bear. Says it right there on Google.
Oh, if it's on the internet, it's real.
It's on Google. So, Matt, there's your keys to the game.
All right, no, that was brilliant. I mean, I'm going to use that. It'll be like a little Easter egg for you in the next 2 weeks. That's gonna pop up in my coverage, and it's your job to kind of find it, and I will. I'll hat tip to you when I tweet it out.
Am I correct that you are? Yeah, and I got to hat tip it to somebody else too. So if you're stealing from me, you've stolen twice. Am I correct in assuming that you're gonna step up and as tough as it is, you're gonna make this Vegas trip?
Yeah, I'm gonna get on that plane and take that 55-minute flight. It's tough, but yeah. I'm gonna do it. Yeah, we're staying at the Luxor hotel,
which will be painted as a. It's gonna. You saw that. I hope the entire outside is gonna look like a nacho cheese Dorito. This is a true story.
Yes, I did. I mean, I usually don't care about all the kind of merchandising that goes along with a Super Bowl, but this, here's another hat tip. You gotta give it up to them. Change an entire building into a Dorito chip.
Well, listen, I'm telling all my media friends this because I can't stand Vegas, though I've spent a lot of time there. If you haven't already, at some point, Matt, and hopefully on the Athletic dime, because I know my 2 subscriptions are paying for it, take an Uber. It's in Vegas, but it's about 15 minutes from the Strip. There is a place called John Mole's Roadkill Grill. I'll text it to you. It is the best barbecue I've ever had in my life. Huge portions. Hopefully you have a little mini fridge at the Luxor. Good prices. It's in the middle of a residential area, and they just basically took 3 lots and turned it into a barbecue place featured on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. Hey. That's how I learned about it. But if you're in the mood for some good old-fashioned Nevada barbecue, I highly suggest it.
John Mole's Roadkill Grill. I just wrote it down. Yeah, that's going to happen. Maybe on Tuesday. Maybe I'll see you over there for lunch or that.
Hey, yeah. There you go. Remember, that's John Mole, M-U-L-L. John Mole's Roadkill Grill. God, they should give me a free dinner.
They should.
And make sure you get the ribs and the brisket. Just saying. So, Matt, you're wonderful. We appreciate it. And we're already friends. We're going to become even closer, I have a feeling, over the next 2 weeks as we lead up to what hopefully will be a very, very exciting Super Bowl.
We're gonna bond even more in Vegas.
You dang right. And just remember, Matt, chew slowly and drink your.
Well, that's why I want you there at John Mole's Roadkill Grill.
Right.
If I start putting that brisket down, I need somebody there to kind of
We don't want to repeat.
Day.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Matt. Safe travels, my friend.
Thanks, Matt.
Have fun staying at the Chip, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, sounds good, guys. Talk to you soon.
Take care.
At the Chip.
At the Chip. Big old nacho chip.
That'd be a good story to tell. I once stayed at a Dorito.
At a Dorito. And I will say this.
I haven't seen that picture.
You haven't seen the Luxor chip? And the one thing, too, is I haven't seen the eyeball yet.
Oh, the sphere?
The sphere.
What do you mean?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you
I
haven't
haven't been down there.
Oh, yeah. It's really
in,
cool.
In person to see.
I'm sure they'll have fun with that during Super Bowl week.
Oh, here you go, by the way.
Wow.
The entire front triangle of the Luxor is a nacho cheese Dorito.